welcome back to the Youtini Show, your one-stop shop for all things going on in Star Wars. I'm Eric here tonight with Wes and JG, and we have a big story to talk to you about that you've probably been hearing about all week. Kathleen Kennedy is officially stepping down, or has officially stepped down as president of Lucasfilm. Dave Filoni and Lynwen Brennan are taking the reins, and huge changes are coming to Galaxy's Edge. Now, obviously, our main story tonight surrounds Kathleen Kennedy, one of the most public figures in all of Star Wars, who has been praised or blamed for nearly every decision the franchise has made for at least 15 years. This week, she officially stepped down as Lucasfilm president, with Dave Filoni and Lynwen Brennan taking over the creative and business sides of the company. Now, Wes and JG, this has been rumored for quite some time. We've seen headlines going every which way about this, and we'll get into all of that tonight. But first things first, what was your initial reaction to the news that Kennedy was handing over the mantle?
Wow, the leakers finally got it right after all these years.
Yeah, they had to get one, after all this fake news stuff.
Yeah, I think it came a little sooner than I thought too.
Yeah.
So that kind of took me by surprise, but of course they picked these two as the co-chairs.
Yeah, it's kind of like in Marvel when they made Falcon Captain America. It's like, yeah. Like that, like that was the next person. Like that wasn't at all the surprise reveal. But I do agree that I was a little surprised that it came when it did. I think that it was smart of them though to say, "Hey, here's the announcement. By the way, it's happening Thursday," as opposed to "This is her last year. We're taking a tour," because this gets rid of all of the speculation. It also makes it so they don't have to draw it out over the Mandalorian and Grogu press tour. From now, we have a good 3.5 months of runway that is totally clear. So by the time we get into those Good Morning Americas and TikTok channel chats and stuff with Favreau and Pascal, it's all basically over. I think that was very smart.
I'll be contrarian and say that I kind of wasn't surprised, because we had that interview back in February where she kind of was saying it's not going to be the end of this year. So I was kind of thinking it was going to be probably at some point this year.
That's fair.
And then last week, whenever it was going around by the guy from Puck News and such, who's been the one who keeps reporting it over, for some reason this time around, there was a little bit more, oh, it's real this time. There was just a little heavier weight in the water. I can't really describe it, that people were taking it more serious this time around. And then also what I thought was really interesting was that Lucasfilm had put out, Lucasfilm has a YouTube channel, and they put out a company kind of recruiting video. And very interestingly, at the end of it, the last person to speak was Dave. So that's when I was like, oh, all right, we're getting this week, aren't we?
Yeah, it was very interesting how they set it up like that. And they've always kind of showed their stuff here. They've kind of hinted here and there that, okay, we're gonna wink at the camera a little bit with our reveals. Sometimes it works, sometimes it haven't. And we'll get into Dave and Lynwen here in our second segment of the night. But before we get to that, because the future is very bright, and especially because of some things Kathy said, the future is brighter than we thought, which I think is interesting. But Kathy reportedly has been thinking about these two as her replacements for 2 years. And she has thought about this. She's put in a lot of effort. And I thought this was very indicative of how she's handled her whole career. Because for all the folks that have said Kathleen Kennedy is what's wrong with Star Wars, and Kathleen Kennedy made all the bad decisions, and oh gosh, she ruined the franchise, blah, 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 blah. This is your first time watching the show because you saw the title of this. That's not us. Sorry, have a good night. But she had such an incredible career. She started as a secretary for Steven Spielberg back in the day. That Steven Spielberg became an associate producer, and a full producer for him. Produced for Lucas, co-founded Amblin Entertainment, ever heard of it? And brought to life E.T., Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Schindler's List, and, Star Wars. Leading her to become the Lucasfilm president in 2012, all the way now until 2026.
I was unaware of her of her portfolio. And she's got quite the resume here, especially with all these big Spielberg movies. Obviously there's other people that work on it, but I did not know that Kathleen Kennedy was a part of these, and a big part of putting these to the big screen. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
She's the best in the business, period. You look at the list of all that, and not even just looking at it from the financial success, but looking at just how well that all those films are received by fans, and how they are still beloved to this day and still rewatched and still put into theaters and such. like she has such a legacy that like will not be matched as a producer. Like she is the best.
Yeah. She is the name that got stuff done. I think that is another part of her legacy. Like when she was on Spielberg's sets, great story came out, this week again, it circles every once in a while, where she's the one who called Steven Spielberg out on set that said, you can't talk to people that way as an associate. Like to one of the greatest directors of all time. Like she was never afraid to stand up for what she needed. She was the reason repeatedly reported that Andor even got to happen. She championed Tony Gilroy's project. She champions all these creators. And whether or not you think all of the projects under her reign were great or not, which I'm going to list here in a second, because then you really hear like the average quality of everything. Like she was always willing to fight for it. She was going to go in to the meetings with the suits of the Bob Igers and the Chapeks and everyone and say, here's what we want to do. I know how this is done. I know where the bodies are buried. And I think there's also a reason there are two people that have to come back to fill her shoes.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting too, where other studios and other places, like you hear about producers and they're just names or they're just names in the credits and such. She was the face of this company. Every celebration, she is out there greeting the fans. She's talking to the fans. And I think that's something that is also unique about her, is that she was very personable, very approachable, and she loved the franchise as much as any of us does.
Yeah, that's a good point. You need to have a face to like what brings these movies or this whole universe to life. And that's like you said, I like that she was out there talking to the fans and letting people know like, hey, I am involved and I appreciate every one of you being here and like putting forth the effort and the love and the community that we've tried to sequester, and thank you. And she like you said, she's out there all the time, and she wasn't in the background. She wasn't just collecting a paycheck, right? So, this list of her Star Wars projects first, but like all of her other accolades is like I watch Back to the Future all the time, and I had no idea that Kathleen Kennedy was behind that. That's awesome.
Yeah, she just was so smart about the business because she saw the business. Like she was in it for 50 years so far. Also, she's not done with show business. She's just gonna go produce now, which is what she wants to do. Like she
That's
gets
what
to
I
get
was
out of
gonna
some
ask.
of the meetings. Yeah, she's just gonna produce now. Her husband Frank Marshall, also another amazing filmmaker, producer. Like she just wants to go do that, so she will keep producing and keep making these amazing movies. She probably just gets to do less of the stuff she doesn't like doing.
Yeah.
Which, man, what a legend.
Yeah, just take a little bit of stress off your life, right? And just do something that you like really love. You don't have to have that constant backlash of like having to deal with 50% of the Star Wars fandom being great. And, well, 60% of the Star Wars fandom being great, 40% being chaotic. So yeah, like just get that off your back. If you have a good plan in place to hand over the reins, then like I guess this is the year. This is the greatest time. This is a good time to do it. But I guess producing is just that's her passion. That's what she loves to do.
Yeah. That's the fun part, and you think about all the things that she's done, the live action products we've had since Kathleen Kennedy became president are as follows. We got The Force Awakens, Rogue One, The Last Jedi, Solo, The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, all 3 seasons, Andor, both seasons, Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Acolyte, Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, soon to be 2 seasons. All of this was created under the presidency of Kathleen Kennedy, when beforehand we had 6 movies and the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And Rebels was Disney. Yeah, so I didn't even talk about animated. We have the end of the Clone Wars. We have, the Bad Batch. We have Clone Wars, or Rebels, Resistance. Like all these things that happened because she at some point said, "Yep, do it." She had to get the stamp of approval, and also it does not need to be, it must be said a lot. It can't be ignored. This is a woman who came into a field, especially 50 years ago, that was even more of a minefield to women and people that aren't just guys like us than it is now. Worked her way up the ranks from a secretary to being the most powerful woman in the history of science fiction, and took harassment every day, took people yelling at her every day, took threats every day, and said, okay, like she admitted in a Deadline interview that we'll talk about in a bit, like that was a low point. The low points were the people that said the mean things and the constant harassment happened. Yeah. But she was the person who made the playbook of, hey, if you're coming into Star Wars, I know how to protect you. Hey, I'm going to speak with the people that are coming into Star Wars to make sure they're okay. And she's like, I'm still going to make these movies. Because like you said, Wes, so much of this fandom just wants these great stories. And that was important to her. And she made sure it got done.
I don't want to deter too much from the live action, but I think it's important to note too that it even goes beyond that, even to like I think the biggest thing outside of the live action is the High Republic. She challenged that team to create a whole new era in Star Wars, and we would not have the High Republic, we wouldn't have the Acolyte, we wouldn't have what is going to come forward now from that era. Like Kathy was massively in charge of that, and while yes, she very much was a producer first, very much in charge of that, but she enabled the leadership to go and do that. And thus now we have one of the most richest eras in Star Wars right now that isn't really too much on the screen yet.
Yeah. It's funny because it feels like her career has been one of absolutes. Like, unfortunately, because of the depths of harassment, you kind of had to be she's perfect or she's not. And like everyone else, she falls somewhere in the middle. Were some of her decisions not great? Of course. It's a giant franchise. There are some projects that were better than others. There are some risks that I would have loved them to take. You know, there's some quotes that she said I don't agree with. You know, she said, I thought Rian Johnson got spooked. And he literally replied on Twitter, said, nope, no, I didn't. She said that putting Alden Ehrenreich in as Han Solo was probably too soon. I personally disagree. But she still did it. And she still made sure that Star Wars existed. Because I think there's also a lot of folks that don't remember being a Star Wars fan in about 2008, 2009. Wasn't that long ago, guys.
Yeah.
It was kind of dead.
Yeah.
You know?
And just for us, I mean, we like the sequel trilogy. I love Force Awakens. I really like Last Jedi. The Last Jedi has grown on me so much. But unfortunately,
and there's a third one.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
it's grown on me too. Not much, but a little bit.
That's why I said like. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people, a lot of the general Star Wars fans are only going to latch on to the bad projects and say that Kathleen Kennedy caused this, and that's why Star Wars is in the place that it is. Whatever that means to anybody, and like the place that it is for us means it's in a great spot. But for a lot of other people are like, oh, Star Wars and The Rise of Skywalker, what a mess that was. That's Kathleen Kennedy all over it. And they're going to latch onto that, and they're not going to talk about Rogue One. They're not going to talk about Andor. They're not going to talk about The Mandalorian that changed streaming for like countless other shows, right?
Yeah.
So
if you boil it down into a very like on the paper way, which is like what we don't like to do, because like we look at the creative and the story and everything, but like all the movies for the most part have made the money back. Solo they had to make the movie twice, so that's an exception. Even The Rise of Skywalker made a crap ton of money. They've also all been nominated for awards, even the TV shows. And so when you look at it even from the on the paper way, like she's got a W. Like she's won the championship back a few times now for this franchise.
Exactly. She is the people that we know that are this level of public. It's her and it's Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
End of list.
Yeah.
Like these are the people that have been the public face, that have taken the praise, that have taken the criticism, but have made sure that they keep on going. And as I said, it is not a mistake that there are literally two other full-time veterans of Lucasfilm that now have to take over her duties, which is actually where I want to go now, because obviously, guys, we do appreciate Kathleen Kennedy for what she's made, for everything she's done for Star Wars, but this exit specifically was cool because it came with a ton of updates about the future of Star Wars projects, thanks to a Deadline exit interview she gave, which was crazy. So JG, I actually want to go to you first on this one. Were you surprised at how much detail Kathy gave on her way out the door?
Lots of tea. I was very surprised. I'm like reading this because I love the behind the scenes. I love to see how the sauce is made, and so I'm going to read all these interviews. And I'm reading this, and I'm just sending screenshots to the Youtini Slack over and over, like, guys, you actually have to read this. There is so much hot goss in this. Like, it was wild what she shared in here. I was not expecting that much, but like at that point, like, she's out the door. What are they gonna do? I think I will probably talk about it, but I think she said everything that she could said, and I think people who might be worrying about things she didn't say, I think you should not be worried, because I think there's a reason why she couldn't say anything about things.
Yeah, I think that Kathleen Kennedy has spent 50 years hearing what can be said, saying what can be said, and every single word that she has spoken to Deadline, both in that interview last year that we talked about when she talked about all those projects was mathematical. Every single word in this exit interview was mathematical. This is not a woman who speaks when she is unsure of the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is 50 years of mastery that she put in here, because this first quote that I'll read here in a second, word for word, I think she very intentionally mentioned some things to light some fires under some particular asses. And it went like this. She said, quote, "I've got to tread a bit carefully here." Jokes, Kathy. Jim Mangold and Beau Willimon wrote an incredible script, but it is definitely breaking the mold, and it's on hold. So that's Dawn of the Jedi to the side. Taika has turned in a script that I think is hilarious and great. Crazy, because last year she said, quote, "If I ever get a script, it'll be great." So that happened within the year. It's not just my decision, especially when I've got a foot out the door. Donald Glover has turned in a script. That's Lando. And as you have read, Steve Soderbergh and Adam Driver turned in a script written by Scott Burns. It was just great. Anything's a possibility if somebody's willing to take a risk. What a baller move.
Yeah.
Woo! Mic
Hey,
drop.
if you don't want to be a little bitch about it, you can pick the movie.
Yes.
I'm just saying, guys. I mean, it's not my job anymore, but if someone wanted to make that script,
Yeah,
it exists. Confirmation.
I am surprised that she dropped the Steve Soderbergh Adam Driver script. I thought that was just going to be.
Unbelievable.
I thought that was just going to be in the ether of the internet forever until
Yeah.
it wouldn't resurface. And then here we are, where she just says, but that when you read the quote, you can read it two different ways. Like, it was great, it was just great, or it was just great. You can read it two different ways, right? So
You could.
I read it, especially for that one, especially for that script specifically. I think Kathy is still pissed at Disney
Yes,
and Bob. Like
that is
she
what I
is
think.
livid.
Yeah.
I think that is the thing that like she is so mad about, that she wishes that she could do a whole expose about that. That is the one thing that she probably wished that she could have gotten done that they could not.
In
Oh,
50
man.
years, how many times did Kathleen Kennedy walk into a boardroom and not walk out with what she wanted?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, she's like, this has never happened in the history of Lucasfilm, that we've had a
Yeah.
ready script and not gone on. I
I'm-
said yes. I'm Kathleen Kennedy. I said yes.
We're
I'm
about to
waiting-
start shooting.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting for the interview 10 years from now, right? Where she just lets it, like she's on Dateline or something, just like lets it all out.
Oh, no. Wes, that's
Book.
going to be a book. Yeah,
Book?
that's a book.
Okay. Yeah,
Or a
She's gonna write a book,
documentary made by her
100%.
husband. A documentary made by her husband.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah. So I think absolutely with the Soderbergh and Driver thing, which I was on record, I believe, on this very show saying it's probably dead. We won't get it. That thing, that is not dead. That is on the back burner. It's unlikely. It is still unlikely, but I think now it is officially, the script is not burned.
Yeah.
It could be back in a folder. Things are going. If I was Steve Soderbergh or Driver, I would read that and give Filoni a call and be like, yo, man, ready to take a risk? You know, I think it's possible. And I think Kathleen Kennedy was intentionally pushing them because creatively she's always wanted to do that. She also followed that up with the quote below saying, right now we're in an era where companies are so risk averse. And I get it. I hear all the conversations. They've got Wall Street to please, and I get it. But I also believe that that's what contributes to things disappearing ultimately. Willow, anyone? I just think you have to take those chances. Like, she's saying what we've all been afraid is the reality. And this is where I have to eat a little bit of crow, because I've been always the person on the show saying it's probably better than we think. I think we're all blowing things out of proportion. This does confirm a little bit that there's been a lot of business pushback creatively. And I think that sucks. I think it's good of her to say it out loud. But I don't know. I think she's just saying, I'm in the room. I couldn't say this before. It was my thing. Now, guys, that was happening. It is Wall Street. It is business. It is money. That is the issue here. It's not any of the creatives. All that stuff is ready. Like, it made me angry. I watched Alex Damon's video on it.
Yeah.
And oh man, it's frustrating. It's frustrating, you know?
It's almost insulting that the fact that like these executives and such think that the majority of fans like what, you know, Alex put on the channel on Star Wars Explained, AI slop on Disney Plus. That's not what we want as fans. Like, we want these really risky, beautiful movies. Yes, some of them are not going to work out. Like, who knows if what would have happened with like that Hunt for Ben Solo. That is a wild idea, but
Yep.
they had a belief in it, they had a vision for it, and we would have had a chance to see what that could have been, and we as fans would respond to that. By now taking that away, you're taking away the fans, like the way for us to be able to react to that. And I think it's
Yeah.
just it's wild. It's crazy that's where we are right now, especially
And-
from Disney of all companies.
Yeah.
It sounds like she's reiterating what we've been talking about. Youtini's been talking about forever. It's like we want great stories, and like these good stories that would push Star Wars like past what it is now probably got shot down because somebody told her, "Hey, this isn't going to make any money, right? This isn't going to move the needle. Wall Street or the IP isn't gonna make an extra 4 cents on the stock price or whatever. So we're not going to do that." Whereas if you had these stories to build from, it could be something. It may be a flop, but you could build off of that later on. But you're still taking risks, right? And you're always going to have your core Star Wars fans are going to watch that, and they're going to tell you whether it's like yes, yay or nay, but they're going to appreciate that you tried, that you went for it, right?
Yeah.
That we got new stories, and we just have to rehash things that we've seen over and over and over again just because in the past it's made money.
Yeah. Now, let me be clear. I don't think that this is her at all throwing shade at Filoni and Brennan, because that has also been a very internet thing of like, oh God, Dave's coming. That she is saying, hey, Bob, it's Iker. It's Bob, stockholders. I see what you're doing. This is what's going on. I know that I am leaving this to people that are going to be creatively brave. And those two people, of course, Dave Filoni. And I want to take a second to talk about Lynwen Brennan, because she is the one, because Filoni's the name, he's the creative side. He's getting a lot of the press. He's the guy we all know. Lynwen Brennan is now officially the president and general manager of Lucasfilm Business. She is in the meetings. She is the get stuff done. She has been with Lucasfilm since 1999, when she was the technical area leader for the computer graphics technical directors. Like, she worked in ILM. She rose through the ranks, became president of ILM in 2009. Like, she has been around for forever as well. She's also, I did not know this, she's a commander of the most excellent order of the British Empire on the behalf of the Majesty of the Queen. Like, she was knighted. Like,
she got game.
Whoa!
She is doing a lot of great stuff here. And the two of them are going to work together, because I think they realize if you have 50 years of experience and were there when Star Wars started, like Kathleen Kennedy, you could probably figure it out. But now it's so vast and it's so big that Filoni is going to be the person that is doing the creative. He's the chief creative officer and technically the president of the company, and Lynwen is co-president. What do you guys think about them kind of splitting the halves of the brain? How do you think that's going to work together? And what do you hope that we see from them? I mean, Filoni's already given quotes like, I'm excited to take bold things. The creatives, like the artists are the most important. I saw Screen Rant did a quote about that. Like, he seems to be talking the talk, but what do you want from them?
We're still very much in the early days of seeing how it's working with DC, but I think DC is a good way to look at it and how that's going right now. And I think that this is very smart. I think, Kathy was very wise to get Dave in on the live action filmmaking as early as Rogue One. And so like Dave's knows it, and it definitely has that knowledge, but I think it's really important to have someone who's been there as long as Lynwen has, who really does understand and get that business. And I'm always of the mindset that two minds are better than one. And I think they're going to be able to work together really well. They've already, in my opinion, I think they've probably been in this role just unofficially for the past 2 years, since basically Kathy put their names out there in the first place. I think this has been what's been going on, and I think we're just about to see that in a more official capacity moving forward.
I like that it is a committee approach to the decision making, where they both have to either come to an agreement or they agreed on one thing and agree on the other. But I like the committee approach, and I think that helps people, or helps either Dave Filoni or her just like realize like, hey, I didn't think of it that way. Maybe we should do it this way, right? So instead of having one person make all the decisions, and like you said, Eric, you got two people now doing what Kathleen Kennedy was doing. Like Kathleen Kennedy was like two people doing one job, or like they probably realized like we put a lot on Kathleen Kennedy. And so like splitting this up and then seeing how much both of them are going to have to work is probably like, whoa, maybe this is something we need to stick with. And like you said, JG, like the DC universe, like maybe that's a good template. Maybe it'll work.
Yeah.
But like, I think the committee approach is the best approach.
Agreed.
Kathy's goal, I think Kathy, when Kathy was coming in, her mission was to make the money back for Disney and prove that Star Wars can keep going forward without George. Now that we have moved past that era, it's now time for these two to take Star Wars into new directions so that it could go for another 50 years beyond even us, so that it always is keeping reinventing itself and still keeping George's vision.
Yeah, I don't think that it's something that we realize and value enough as Star Wars fans to know that the question used to be, will there be Star Wars? The question now is, what will Star Wars be?
Mm-hmm.
It's an assumptive phrase. There's no concern that Star Wars will stop being created. It's just like, will it be smaller? Will it be different? What era will it be? Will they go back? Like, these are the conversations we're having.
Yeah.
That was not what the conversations were. Like, same thing with Marvel in the 90s. Like, these were companies that are so ubiquitous now that got saved by these visionary people that now we have the ability to complain about certain story decisions and decide which creators we want to see their choices rather than fear. And that's what Kathy did. And she talks about the future in that Deadline interview as well with Dave and Lynwen saying, quote, we've talked about this new trilogy and then the things you've mentioned. Mangold's is really on the back burner, as is Soderbergh's. So, unfortunately, I was shocked by that. I thought Dawn of the Jedi was going to happen a little more, but those two are together. I think the ones by Taika and Donald are still somewhat alive. Not the best quote. That's going to really be up to the new team to figure out. A little bit thrown under the bus. A little bit. She says, I know that Dave and Lynwen are very much on board with what Simon's doing. That's Kinberg's new trilogy, she says. And in the timeline of things, that takes you well into 2030 plus. So that's what's up next. So if I had to put my money on it, what I think we're getting, obviously Mandalorian and Grogu, 2026. Starfighter, 2027.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I think it's not impossible for either Rey's movie or the Kinberg movie to be 2028. Even if I still think there's a possibility those become the same movie. I think that is still very possible. I think that the next trilogy is definitely going to happen. 10, 11, 12. I'm a 10, 11, 12 truther now. I think that's where it's going. She said that there was a 70-page treatment on what that trilogy would be, and they kind of went back to the drawing board and we worked that. But I think that is going to be Dave and Lynwen's biggest hurdle. And I think here's my official prediction. Dave and Lynwen, the rest of 2026, meet with Simon, figure it out. I think they bring in Daisy Ridley and they say, hey, this was going to be your movie. Now we're going to put it into this trilogy. Maybe bring in that director and let her kind of direct the first of Kinberg's movies. That's it. And then at Celebration for the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, the new co-presidents come out on stage. We get ready for Starfighter, and they announce 10, 11, 12. Oh, that's where I think we're going now.
Yeah, I want to build onto that because I agree with that. However, I'm going to go even a step further and be even bolder. I think that they've learned their lessons from the sequel trilogy. I think we're going to film all three of these Lord of the Rings style back to back to back, and we're going to get them one year after another.
I agree.
I think 28, 29, 30, or 29, 30, 31, something like that.
I completely agree.
That was not on my bingo card. I just whatsoever. I'm just hyper focused on this Rey movie happening. I want it to happen. I don't give a shit whether it's on a trilogy or it's happening solo or like a single movie. I just want it to happen. What you guys are talking about is exciting me. And so I don't think you can go wrong with adding another trilogy. It's proven.
Yes.
It works. It gets people excited for what's happening. As soon as it says the end after the first movie, the second movie, they want to know what's happening, to be continued, whatever. So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with putting out, and that I think that might be the blueprint for Star Wars right now.
I think Eric's
Go ahead.
I think Eric's onto it with I think the first movie of this new trilogy is going to be like a hybrid of what was going to be the Rey and New Jedi Order movie / whatever the beginning of his first movie is going to be, and that's going to carry us on to the rest of his story and idea for the 2 and 3.
Yes, and I think there are two main factors other than the leadership change, but I think this leadership change is also big. I think the fact that they wanted the new era to firmly start before they got everything working on this, because behind the scenes, even in any company, if there's a leadership shift, you're like, wait, who do I email on this? Whose yes do I need? Like that Ben Solo thing, clearly there's a little bit of confusion. Like we thought we were good, but then it turns out it's Bob and it's not Kathy, but Kathy said yes. I think there's a little bit of, do I talk to Kathy or do I talk to David Lynwen? So that's set now. Kathy's out. They are in. Going forward, Simon Kinberg goes straight to them. I think this has to be a trilogy filmed at once and sequentially released. One, if The Mandalorian and Grogu makes its money back, I think that's a big thing. I think it's looking like it. I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion, but I think that it was filmed decently cheaper than the last movies were. They said like they kept pretty under budget. They've had time. This is Starfighter brings people back to the movies. I also think that they have seen the public outcry about delays. Stranger Things season 5, even Andor season 2. Like this whole multiple years between, that doesn't fly. We don't love that, right? Also, guys, it's cheaper to film them all at once.
Yeah.
Like you have a longer shoot, but have the full story, which by the way, I saw Colton say that in the chat. What if we had the whole story at the beginning? That'd be good.
Right.
Crazy cool idea. Clearly they're doing that because the story treatment is for the entire trilogy. Have that done, film it at once, edit it together, and then have Star Wars just fire away.
Yeah. You also, I think two other things that I really think it's going down this way. Another thing is that you also avoid, more than likely, most times if you do it that way, the untimeliness of sometimes that death comes into life. And like Star Wars has had to deal with that a lot of their projects recently.
Yes.
Twice. And so I think
right.
that's a big thing for them. I think that is something that they're keeping in mind, and how that it really did, I think, affected the story for 9 specifically. Also, huge. If you've watched some interviews with Daisy recently, she's on tour. She has a zombie movie that I need to watch that is out. She's very cheeky about her Star Wars answer. She's kind of giggling and like she's being silent, so she knows something's coming.
She's excited, dude. You can see it.
She's part of something very special coming up. So I think that's also like it's imminent.
Yeah, that's a good point that you brought up about like filming it all at once, so you have like, unfortunately, if there was a death or something, but like even like creative differences with some of the actors and the actresses, like they'd be like, you know what, I don't want to come back for 2. Like I had, a bad experience here and a bad experience there, or I didn't have enough money. I have these other projects I got to do. I'm going to do this project first and then I'll come back to Star Wars. Like you take that variable out and then you have your trilogy already set. Lay it out. You have those characters already there, so you don't have to do reshoots or something like that. So that's a good point.
We're filming 15 months. Mark your calendar. Here's a big paycheck, all 3 movies at once. Like mark it down.
I think it works. And I think regardless, before we get to Celebration, even the lead up maybe to Mandalorian and Grogu, like I wouldn't be surprised if we get some announcements in the coming months. I don't know what they will be. Like we still have that mall show that's coming out. Like that, which there's a toy at Target.
That.
Wild.
It's already there, so that's closer than we think. We got that. We got that Ninth Jedi show that's coming out still. But movie wise, I think it's coming. I think we're gonna start hearing some stuff.
I think also one wild clowny prediction. I don't think Star Wars is done with TV or live action. I think it's gonna be a lot less. I think it's gonna be more. I think they're gonna try to maybe go more like the traditional TV route or whatnot. But I think we will find out what the next TV project is this year. I think we'll find out like what it's gonna be about, and it's gonna it's gonna be a little while till we hear anything. Maybe it's Celebration. We'll finally get some more juice, but. I don't think they're going to completely abandon that because they need to keep putting stuff on there. They need to keep people subscribed. And yes, animation does do it for us diehards, us who are going to consume everything. Yeah. The general public is not watching every animated Star Wars show. They need live action.
Yep. So we'll see. And we will keep you all posted because there are a lot of changes that are going to be coming to Star Wars. That's for sure. And speaking of changes, our last story tonight... we had to take a trip to California and Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge because before Kennedy's departure took over the news cycle, we got an announcement that a bunch of us have actually been waiting for. This April, the Star Wars park will be turning back the clock and heading to the original trilogy timeline as Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia Organa, and more enter Batuu. Since its creation, Galaxy's Edge has taken place firmly in the sequel trilogy timeline, but with this new update, we'll be getting new characters, new stories, and even the souvenir shops themselves will be getting completely new reskins. So fellas, what do we think about Disneyland literally going back in time to let the kiddos finally meet Darth Vader?
Every child's dream.
Yeah.
Finally.
What took so long?
Yeah.
I can't wait for
losing money, Wes. That's what happened.
I can't wait for the TikTok videos of the little toddlers that are gonna run up and go Vader and hug Vader.
Yeah. I love you.
And if you thought we got a lot of those "Who's Your Daddy" shirts beforehand, guys, it's just gonna get crazier. All kidding aside, this is the most logical business decision I think I've seen Disney parks do in years. This is Galaxy's Edge is a miracle of a park. I've been there many times. I proposed to my wife there. Like, it's great. It's my favorite place in the world. But if you're not one of the 0.5% of the park goers that go and are sickos like us, the timeline of it does not matter at all. And all you're doing is you see Rey and Chewie, but then you don't need to know that this is canonically between the episodes where the Falcon landed here, and actually that's why we can't put Han Solo here. But like that doesn't work. They tried. It was admirable. I think this is great. That being said, the way they're doing it is hilarious because if y'all don't know, this announcement came out last week. They are still keeping this a canon park, but they are saying that, oh, this is Batuu. During the original trilogy, Vader is looking for Luke, and my favorite retcon in the world is happening. Because the giant TIE Echelon ship that they had that Kylo Ren walks out of, they have now said, oh no, that's an Imperial era ship. Kylo Ren actually has a vintage ship. Didn't you know that? Hilarious. Hilarious. Canonically now, that's an Imperial era ship. So
didn't realize he was into classic ships.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, they're still making it canonical, but it's going to be all the Stormtroopers are different. As you see on the screen now, it's the OG Stormtrooper helmets. Leia's going to be there in her Battlefront 2 outfit, which is going to be freaking sick. And some of the stores, like First Order Cargo, is now going to be Black Spire Surplus, which is going to have all Rebel and Imperial stuff. Doc Ondar's is updated. Savi's lightsabers is updated. The Droid Depot is updated. Like, they're going to do all this cool stuff. And JG, I think your most favorite thing is that we're getting the original John Williams music back from the first 6 films.
Heck yes.
Like, cool.
It's what you want. It's so exciting. I know. I think it's so smart because it gets us people who've been there numerous times to go back because it's new. And I think it also connects with maybe some of the fans who maybe have that disconnect with the newer films, which is fine. That's a thing. And I think it makes sense. We're coming up on the 50th anniversary, so what better way to celebrate that? I am sure that once we get into like the 10, 11, 12, if you will, we're going to rotate into that era and whatnot. I think that is what this is opening, is that it's finally unlocked on the door. We're not set in one time period. We can go to the prequels if we want to. We can go whatever era and have whatever characters you want, because ultimately we just want to give fans that experience to meet the characters that they want to meet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
and
like,
every goddamn trilogy can go to Tatooine, so can Batuu. Fine.
I think like their original concept is like heavily focused on like recency bias. So like the sequel trilogy came out, and so everybody was super excited about The Force Awakens. And so they have like what more to put in so you can go see these characters you saw that they finally put out episode 7, right? And they're like, they're real excited, like, yes, finally. And then, oh, we can go see those people live in person. Let's go do that. Let's go see that. And then it has, you know, it's taken its toll. It's played through, and now let's do the original trilogy. Let's go back, like you said. I mean, if I hear John Williams' original soundtrack and all of the themes that run through the park, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It's like it takes you back. It's nostalgia. It gets the parents super excited about going to it, and then you can like teach the young ones about the original trilogy, and then like you said, like it is a lot of business transactions that are going on that will empty the parents' pockets. and you will like, but it'll also like you've been to, so let's say you've been to Galaxy's Edge a couple of times. Like, yeah, I've seen it. I'm like really not itching to go anymore, but you are now because everything has been revamped. You're going to go back and see it. And with the original trilogy, like you might have to go back 3 or 4 times just to see everything that they're going to have there. Cause I'm sure they're going to just put out like, they're going to have special attractions and special things are happening like every, 3-4 months or something. They put something else out that you have to go see. Right. I do want to know what is happening with the ride. What's the new ride going to be?
Okay,
Great
so
question.
I do have that answer as well.
Okay.
So Rise of the Resistance, unchanged. That is just going to be that ride. If you've been on it, it is the most technically complicated ride in Disney, and that's it. That is what it's going to be. That's okay. Suspend disbelief. You're on the Rise of the Resistance. That's it.
Okay.
That is it. But Smuggler's Run, the Millennium Falcon ride, we've known for a while is getting a new mission about the Mandalorian and Grogu. So that'll tie into that. And that's a screen ride, right? Like they have to program it, but that's mostly screens for folks that have been on there. So that'll be new. And there will be a couple options for that. So my assumption is that will keep updating. Rise of the Resistance, there's a life-size sequel era AT-AT walker in there. I don't think they got to mess with that. That's fine.
That area of the park, they even like I've seen some renditions of it. That area around Rise and such, that is going to be like in the sequel trilogy, funny enough. And that everywhere else is going to be the hybrid of the original trilogy and then the new Mandogu stuff.
Yeah. Which is also Disney's done this, like they change stuff for the seasons all the time. Going to Disney at Halloween and Christmas is vastly different. Epcot and Disney World is Festival of the Arts that changes all the time. Like they do these reskins all the time. And I think Star Wars getting in on it is really smart. And if that means that I can go, one of the quotes in the article from one of the Imagineers says, I'm walking through Galaxy's Edge at night and looking at the Millennium Falcon and I hear the Force theme and I start to cry. Like that's going to be able to happen. And my thing is, I want to see what they do with the little interactions. Because, like, if you've ever been to Savi's and made a lightsaber, there is a story in there. Like, canonically, there you meet and you have this there's a script and there's a thing that follows. And it's actually very emotional, which is great. That's going to be totally different. Because this is now a different time. Like, how have they gotten it? What are the designs like? There are certain parts of it that probably won't fit anymore. So that kind of stuff gets to be new. And then, of course, Doc Ondar has got, if we've all been in there, the Easter eggs are going to throw up there now all happen in the original trilogy era. So,
gosh, listen, if you're going to Celebration next year, you might want to go a couple days early because it's going to be extra crowded next year.
Oh, it's going to be so packed, and I'm absolutely going to go. It's going to be the best.
And it's only at Disneyland.
Only in Disneyland. Only in Florida.
Okay.
For now. Yeah. Or sorry, California. For right now. So I think it's a great call. We'll see if they keep changing it up. My gut says that maybe we'll get little things, but OT, like where you said, that's where the transactions are. That's who's spending the money. Most of the folks that are going to Disney that want that are the people that had the Darth Vader t-shirts on. Like there are some sickos. There's some kids that want to meet Rey. That will probably still happen. Like they're not going to be so tied to it, but it's Luke and Leia and Han and Vader and Chewie and like that's what it is, And I think leaning into that is a great call, and I'm so excited to see what they do.
Yeah, there's a lot more long-time iconic characters that you can interact with at the park instead of like just a few that you have to like barge your way into the line and grab onto Kylo Ren's leg and be like, "You're my favorite."
I mean, we talked about the Force theme, but imagine that like you're also there, you hear the Force theme at the Millennium Falcon, and all of a sudden you start hearing some banging and such, and all of a sudden you look over and it's Han and Chewie repairing the Falcon.
Come on.
Or go to Oga's and all of a sudden
for Disney. Keep your ideas,
guys.
Yeah, hold on to your ideas. Sell those ideas.
It's just cool, and again, it speaks to bring it all the way back around to Kennedy and Filoni and Brennan. Like it's creative. It is. We have a problem where we're not getting as much interaction maybe as we want. So what's the solution? We're going to change the story. We're not going to shut things down. This isn't the Star Cruiser Hotel. This is a fixture that we're going to adjust. Yeah, R.I.P. that thing. Like that.
Still listen to the music.
Money. Yeah, but this is still around, and we're going to make this a greater experience for people. I hope it's still, fresh and new for Celebration. Or, I mean, hey, do they do a Mandogu thing this April, May. Does it become a Starfighter thing next May? Like, do you change it up a little bit with each release? That's a lot of work. Like, some of the comments I saw, I thought were very sweet and well intentioned. Have zero idea how hard it is to design a Disney park, and what it takes to make everything work. Like how specifically detail oriented every single inch of that place is. So, oh, just do X, Y, Z. It's like, okay, right. But for little overlays and things like that, like, do we bring out Ryan Gosling's character or something to walk around?
That's
like,
what I was thinking. I was like, are they already interviewing for Ryan Gosling lookalikes to see, like, all right, just
Oh,
put this in
absolutely.
the back burner, and we're
No,
gonna
that's
call you.
just going to be the guy that's Flynn Rider right now. They're going to put him in a different wig on his day off. Come on. Let's be clear. Those guys wrote. Vi Marati is just Tiana, guys. Sorry to burst the bubble. Like, there are not specific Star Warsians. It's going to be cool, though. I like that these pieces of news were in the same week because we've been a little news light over the break. We calmed down. And this was all about the future in one big week of like a giant reskin of this amazing thing, the giant company shift. And now it's like, okay, now what? You know?
Yeah.
It feels good.
It
feels good.
Mhm.
I'm excited about it. And you guys are both going to Celebration next year, right?
Yeah,
Oh, would not miss it.
Excellent. So we're all going to Galaxy's Edge together to see the reskin?
for sure.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, everybody. We will see you there next year. We're going to do a lot of podcasts before that. But we are very excited to go. I'm already counting down the days. I've been having let's be real. I've been saving in a special account. That has been the countdown. Has been putting money aside every single week because I own a house now. And have to make sure those vacations are set. But
Yeah, you
it'll be a great time.
You forgot to mention Oga's Cantina. Is the
I did.
the Cantina band gonna be
They're
there?
gonna do they're gonna put the Cantina theme in. I think DJ Rex is still spinning. But
Yes. Just no more
yeah.
remix. We're actually getting the proper original
Yes.
OG Cantina.
actual Cantina band theme will be in there.
New
as they
drinks,
said.
new drink menu.
New drinks, man.
Han
Kobe
might stop
Santan,
by.
What else we got? What'd you say?
I said Han might stop by for a
Han-
drink.
Dude, if Han Solo comes up to the bar, I'd lose my mind. Especially if I'm like 2 drinks in. I'd be like, Han Solo! It'd be the best. I'm so excited. There's so much good stuff coming along. But before we get out of here tonight, speaking of cool new stuff, JG, this is not the only podcast you're part of the Youtini network. So for the Canon Book Club, you guys just put out an amazing retrospective podcast that was talking about your favorite projects of last year. What is the next project that's coming up on the Youtini Book Club feed folks can look forward to?
Yes, so we are actually doing a Rebel Rewind because we still have a little bit of a lull before the next book. We are reading Phasma, so if you want to go ahead and reread that one, we're going to be putting that episode pretty shortly, actually, in the next few weeks.
Awesome. Speaking of Vi Marati and Galaxy,
I
Edge,
know.
her premiere, what is it? Premiere? No, first appearance. Premiere?
Is it?
That's not the word for it. Yeah, Vi Marati first.
Wow,
appearance.
I forgot all about that. It's been a while. I haven't read that since they first came out.
There's this weird frame story that happens with Captain Cardinal and Vi Marati, and then the whole story happens.
What was the book that came after that? That came after
Black
Phasma?
Spire.
Black Spire, yes.
Black
So
Spire.
Phasma has been on my list to read because of Black Spire, and I just
real
never
good.
got to it. So 2 weeks.
That was a good time.
2 weeks. Okay.
Couple weeks. Keep your eyes peeled. Again, go to subscribe to the Youtini Canon Book Club feed if you have not already. They got that. And then, of course, in about a month and a half or so, we got Low Red Moon by Mike Chen, the Star Wars Outlaws book, which it's by my bed, and I don't have it next to me, but it did arrive, and it's a gorgeous freaking cover. So lots of good stuff coming up. And, of course, we always got more Youtini show coming at you every single Monday. Man. Before we get out here, though, Wes, I do want to say on air, I'm very sorry about your Texans. We did talk about that a little bit last week.
I've voiced my frustration too much to even talk about it. I am in the market myself, and I take the city on my shoulders. We're in the market for a quarterback. So if anybody is willing, if you,
Not a coach?
yeah, if you're out there, no, I mean, defense is great. We'll just have a defensive coordinator as our head coach. It's fine. That's what we do. But yeah, if you're a quarterback and you're kind of like, you know what, I don't like where I'm at, we'll probably pick you up because we need help. We need help.
Let's say two interceptions a game. That seems okay.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Hey, I know an unk that might not retire.
Yeah. You know
Aaron
what?
Rodgers,
Take
Houston
him.
Texans.
We'll take him for 1 year. That's it. I don't
Yeah.
think it's anybody can stand him for more than 1 year. So that's it.
No, that's it. Yeah, this is a nice time where all three of us, all of our teams are officially out of the playoffs, which is a great way to be, honestly, if you're a football fan, because then you just watch the games and enjoy. Our good buddy Carl, though, who has done infinite work for Youtini over the years, is a Seahawks fan and season ticket holder, so he's doing well and will be at the game on Sunday cheering on his Hawks. Good old Sam Darnold. Good for him.
Miracle
You know
man.
what? Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week. We'll talk a little football, maybe. I'm sure if there's no news, we'll have some Star Wars Unlimited to chat about. JG, there's still plenty of time to get into the game before rotation happens.
I got plenty of cards.
Attaboy. Excellent. Well, everyone, make sure to watch your football. Make sure to collect your cards. Make sure to light a candle for the wonderful career of Kathleen Kennedy. Because, my friends, that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Youtini Show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us as always. Make sure to join our community over at youtini.com/community. Join our free Discord. We are chatting about this stuff all day, every day. And head to youtini.com to make sure you get your timelines, your guides, your reviews, and everything else you need. We will be back next week with all the Star Wars news that's fit to print. And until then, may the Force be with you.